Hey everybody, I'm Vincent.
And I'm Jonathan.
And we are the Anthony and Todd Show, and today we're talking about the latest Mountain Goats album, In League with Dragons. There's a league, and it's an organized sport.
I feel like I should have actually started watching Game of Thrones now.
No. Because it's been spoiled to me. I don't understand like how Avengers has been kind of like kept hushed about on Twitter, but like Game of Thrones is just like everywhere. It's just like everywhere I go on.
It's because the fans of Game of Thrones are assholes.
But like it's just like I don't even understand who these people are. I'm never gonna watch Game of Thrones because I don't really like fantasy that much.
There's just like spoilers everywhere, but because I've never watched Game of Thrones, I don't even understand what any of them mean.
It's just like, that's
there's a dragon and and at some point Aquaman was in the show,
and there's a lot of dick.
There's tons of dick.
A lot of dick. So it's pretty similar to the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, because Peter Quill's a pretty big fucking dick.
He's dick.
Iron
Man has an ass. Fur dicks.
Thanos has an ass for Ant-Man.
Oh, no. No, not Iron Man has an ass. I meant Thanos. Yeah. Because Thanos' ass has Ant-Man in it, and he has a dick.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Thanos also has a dick, presumably.
Oh my god, we're off topic. We're too far off topic. This has been a long day. The Mountain Goats are an American indie folk band fronted by singer-songwriter John Darnielle. They're kind of prolific in the indie scene with 17 studio albums to their name.
They have a rabid fan base.
Rabid, like one of the most. I don't know if one of the most rabid. If like Death Grips is the peak rabid.
The thing is, like, their fan base is like intense and dedicated, but they're like not bad.
They're not the worst.
They're not like obnoxious.
I think like
they're just very, very dedicated.
Death Grips is like I don't think the word. I don't know. Death Grips is the most hyperactive.
Yeah.
And then like I think there's like Mountain Goats like here. Under that's like Gizzard. Like just a bit.
Then there's Juggalos.
Juggalos is below Death Grips because you have to commit to it.
Yeah.
Death Grips is more like any. Death Grips is in Rick and Morty. Yeah. Anyone can just be with it, I guess, and just kind of hold people to it. So like their fan base is really prolific. I'm mostly aware of them because of their 2015 album Beat the Champ, which is all about wrestling in 2017, wrestling in the Southern Territory era. More specifically, and their 2017 album Goths, which was all about gothic culture and even had like gothic and kind of like I guess new wave post-punk inspirations from like Joy Division and such. But like both these records are great.
Tallahassee's a great album.
Tallahassee's great, but I'm not really familiar with it as much as
I think this one's called like Sunset Tree.
I'm not like I'm more familiar with their recent releases.
No, their most recent releases I think are definitely like some of their best. Like Goths, I think is my favorite of their albums.
Yeah, and they've been more concept heavy, and this one kind of follows suit. I think I saw a video of John Darnielle opening the vinyl to this, and he kind of went over a lot of the influences. I could talk about that, but again, I like Wikipedia, so basic Wikipedia description. What can I sum up that Wikipedia cannot do for me? It is the greatest resource known to man, Jonathan. Inspired by tabletop role-playing games such as Dungeons and Dragons, the album has been described as partial rock partial rock opera with influences from noir literature. Literally, that's what John Darnielle said in the final opening video.
And also, like, a lot of influence of, like, the idea of, like, old idols, like, aging
and
idols.
wizards.
And wizards.
Yeah.
Old wizards. And
it kind of has a lot of the same writing that has been on the last two records. And I feel like John Darnielle actually has a lot of fun with these concepts, even though they're like really dark in tone. I just think this thing, I like it, and there's not a super lot to complain about because I think the production has a lot of passion to be put into it, and I think the writing has a lot of passion to be put into it, but there's just moments on here that just feel really long for no purpose.
I think
like the opening Done Bleeding, I like this kind of like and this stopping, I guess, self-destruction territory that goes into, but it doesn't take up the space that it has.
And this album, for me, like, the writing is there, the production is there. Sometimes there's a couple like songs that like sound a little
too samey.
Yeah, but to me, in this one, it's John's voice. He sounds tired. a lot more so than he's ever sounded, and a lot less passionate with his vocals, and there's a lot of energy lacking from this album.
I don't really get that. For me, it's just I feel like it just doesn't use its own time right, and it isn't able to, like, I guess, trim itself down, because this thing's 48 minutes and it feels 48 minutes.
I think the probably, to me, like, the greatest thing of, like, the energy is the track Cadaver Sniffing Dog, which, like, it has the production and the sound and the topics that, like, you would expect, and kind of it needs a beat the champ, like, energy, especially, like, it has, like, a lot of, like, similar vibes to, like, Foreign Object, and, like, how you'd expect the energy to be, and it doesn't sound that way. When he says, like, bring in a Cadaver Sniffing Dog, there's no energy behind it.
But I still like its performance. I think that's one of the catchiest moments on this album.
It is one of the catchiest, but, like, it's one of the moments that should have been even more energetic than it was, and it's just, there's a distinctive lack of energy here that I think needs to be present to make the album work as a whole.
Yeah, I think the production doesn't take as much risk as it did on Goss with the woodwind section.
Yeah, Goss was a super, especially for the Mountain Goats, risky production, because, like, I don't think they even used a guitar.
Yeah, it was a lot of piano and a lot of woodwind, which I think was incredible, because you get moments like the Gray
for
Skin
a fucking folk band.
Yeah, you get moments like the Gray King and the Silver Flume attunement and Unicorn Tolerance, that these lovely woodwinds that pop up on the track.
And just
with this, we get a lot of kind of like guitar chemistry, because there's like two guitars and they would like lay out each other.
Yeah.
It's weird chemistry, because it's like the band works together as a whole, but it's mostly the guitars that's the most noticeable, and how they lay out each other on the track. Like moments like Younger, the guitars kind of build up on each other to give this like almost stream-like presence as you're floating down the river of sorts. Very nostalgic. Also, moments like Possum by Night have this like fantastic piano moments.
There's some really cool like non-guitar moments in here. Like there's some great piano in Possums by Night. I'm trying to remember which one it was. One of them has like a really cool, like it sounds like a, like a trumpet, or not trumpet, like some kind of like, it's a brass instrument.
There's a saxophone.
Yeah, saxophone.
That's on Younger.
Yeah,
the end of Younger, which is great. I think also going back to the lyrics, I think he's still having fun. We get moments like Passaic. How do you pronounce that? Passaic.
Yeah.
1975, which is written from the perspective of Ozzy Osbourne going over this idea of like old idols and wizards being people.
And that was another moment where like the production was cool and the lyrics are cool, but like I felt like his energy as he's saying wasn't there. Like when he was saying about like everybody getting high, it felt very like tired. I thought and, like I guess would make sense if it was about like old idols, but like this is supposed to be like Ozzy and like the height of his drug, which was when he was very young, very energetic.
Yeah.
And like very, very like energized in his vocals, and it was just very much the opposite, which I don't know if that was like really the intention.
Mm-hmm. We get moments like Doc Gooden where it's talking about the baseball pitcher and how in his older age, all of his critics were there. Where were they when he was good?
Yeah.
Or where were all these new players and all the critics were when he was good in his prime? Same thing with Wailing Jennings. He's making a Wailing Jennings song, kind of just dark folk or dark. It has like a bluegrass-ish feel.
There's like some like much more like country vibes on it,
which I like because it puts up a different vibe in the environment. But like I think an antidote from Strychnine. It's just so long. And it doesn't. I don't understand the point of it. Yeah. He's trying to create an antidote, and I don't understand the metaphor. I guess because some of these like it kind of has like a They Might Be Giants writing, which has always been like apparent in the Mountain Goats as like an influence. But like Possums by Night, it's about possums, but it could be a metaphor for people.
Yeah,
like it can obviously. Antidote for Strychnine, or whatever it's called, Strychnine, is. I don't understand if it's metaphor. It just seems like it's very cut and paste. Like it doesn't have to be a metaphor, but it just doesn't seem important.
Yeah.
And there's I can't make a relation to anything in the track, and it goes on for 6 minutes. It's one of the slowest moving tracks on here, and it just moves at the speed of a slug.
Yeah.
Sicilian Crest. It has this weird like synth pop vibe, which I like how the synth and the piano on the track kind of like lay out, but like I don't think it. I think it's just too cheesy.
Yeah.
Especially to take a risk like that solely in the album.
Mm-hmm.
It just comes off being just kind of messy.
Yeah, which is a shame because like I think that was when his like vocals were at its most energetic and like the best, but like it was put with like instrumentation that was like not the best.
Yeah, I think when we get really into the best tracks on here, it's when we get into Clemency for the Wizard King and Younger and Possum by Night. I think tracks when we kind of go into a more mythical place, like I thought this album was gonna kind of be in. It's where it really shines, I guess, and it just brings out that feel of like, I guess, I don't know, a world similar to The Legend of Zelda. I know that's not mythical, more or less, but it has that like vibe, that natural kind of unknown world vibe, which I think it works. You definitely get vibes of partial rock opera. I think that's definitely where Possum by Night comes into play. And noir literature, that's definitely our Caviar Sniffing Dog.
Yeah.
Cadaver, I'm sorry, I don't want to say caviar. Cadaver Sniffing Dog.
Caviar.
Sniffing Dog comes into play. But this thing, it just... It feels a little bit bloated. It's missing more risk and production that are consistent and fun. I think you said it's missing energy. I just think it's missing just like a tightness.
It's missing something.
It's not as tight as previous projects.
No.
I don't think
I was really excited for this one because I was hoping it would continue like the strength because like I love Beat the Champ. Like I thought like Goff's was even better, and I was hoping this was going to be like that next step of being even better, and then it feels like a couple steps back.
Yeah. Keep in mind that our scores are like pointless and futile. I think this is like a 7.
6.
Yeah. It
not even a half score, not even a 6.5, just a 6.
6. Yeah. I think it just doesn't. It just leaves me wanting more.
Yeah. It makes me just want to listen to Goffs again instead.
Yeah.
Or Tallahassee.
There are hit moments on here. Younger, Clemency for Wizard King, Possum by Night, and Link with John and Dragon's Dock Good, and Going Invisible 2. I keep on
Cadaver.
saying Cadaver. I don't know why I want to say Caviar. Sniffing Dog, but like it needs more polish.
I don't think there's any tracks I'm gonna go back to the same way I go back to like Rain in Soho and No Children and Foreign Object and Werewolf Gimmick and like all of these like songs like I go back to repeatedly are like from like a lot of them are from like Beat the Champ and Goffs, but then there's also a bunch from Tallahassee and like This Year. That's another one I love. I don't think there's a single song from him I'm going to go back to repeatedly.
This thing has so many topics, and I feel like Beat the Champ and Goss also had a lot of topics, but they also had like one finite point. This just is all over the place and doesn't seem to have that one finite point.
Yeah.
Which it's fun to see John have like fun with these topics, even though they're super dark. I said that before, but like I think that's kind of what I think the rest of this album is missing, because sometimes it just seems like he's bored in these tracks.
Yeah.
And especially when it seems like they're the most personal, like Done Bleeding.
Yeah.
It seems like it's just empty.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of disappointed with this in a sense, but it's still not the worst.
It's not bad. It's just for a band of this caliber, this is very much a disappointment.
Yeah. I think we're gonna leave it at that. Until next time, guys, I'm Vincent.
I'm Joffin.
And see you, boyos.